So when I think about culture, the first thing I think about is that we are an organization of people, and I always say whether it's a 5-year-old little person or a 50-year-old teacher, everybody in between and anywhere else, we have to be people-oriented. We have to know what people are thinking, because if we're going to move folks to be the best version of themselves, to learn something new that they didn't know yesterday, to invest their time in something that is a risk, to try something new, we have to first start talking about the people that we're serving. We're called to serve. We're called to serve our students, and through our students we need to serve our teachers and to support them and help them wherever they are. And I think so the first thing is knowing and understanding who our staff is made up of, who they are, what they're like, what their personalities are, do they embrace change, and then we also have to think about our students and what do they need and what are their experiences at home, what are their experiences here in school, and how do we support them. So in terms of talking about change, the first thing that we need to do is think about the people that we're serving. So our next step in terms of thinking about culture and change is to honor people where they're at. So whether it's a student and they're coming from a home that is technologically rich, or those that really have no access to technology, we have to honor where that student is and help them to grow from that point. In addition, we have to honor where our teachers and our staff and our administration is. We need to honor that they may not have been trained, they might not have the disposition to be a risk taker, they may have had multiple opportunities to participate in utilizing technology in their classroom, but it didn't work, and so they've been burned. We need to understand where they're at, and we need to honor that, and then start to address how can we support them, and how do we honor where they're at, and how do we help move them forward. And sometimes it just takes sitting down and asking, what would you like? What are the things that we can do to support you? Once again, if we're going to talk about culture, we have to talk about the people that we're here to serve. And that really needs to be the starting point. In anything that we do, if we start there and then say, how do we move forward? Oftentimes when we think about change and we think about culture, and I can tell you that a lot of folks who sit in my seat were type A personalities. We have the list of things we want to see them get done. But I think we have to also think about that those baby steps along the way are so important. And so we oftentimes will talk about one student at a time. It's also one teacher at a time. Making an influencing, making a difference in one teacher's classroom, celebrating one lesson, celebrating one risk, or success or failure, and saying, how can we learn from this? All of those little baby steps along the way start to change your culture. And I think what happens is that we don't even see our culture changing until we step back 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. We look back to where we've been, and you see that all of those baby steps, all of those interactions with individual teachers, all of that encouragement for those student leaders who are doing fantastic things, you start to see that you get more and more buy-in for the things that you're valuing, that you're focusing on, that you've invested your time and energy in, and that's how you change a district. But there's not a recipe for it. It really is in human interactions. It's about people and really helping a person, being that servant leader to help them where they're at move forward, and giving them the opportunity and the support to do so.